In this video we're going to show you how to assemble the OneMX PX1S.
We recommend using your own toolkit containing hex keys, spanners and sockets for this build, even though a small toolkit is included. We also recommend using thread lock on all visible threads to ensure nothing comes loose whilst using the product. When you receive your item, it will arrive in a cardboard box. You will need to remove the banding with a pair of sharp scissors or a knife. In the box will be a smaller cardboard box that contains accessories, the body itself and other parts that will be loose within the box. Let's do a quick check of the parts before we begin the assembly.
The front mud guard, the number board,
the basic toolkit,
the 2-stroke mixing bottle,
the fuel breather hose,
the instruction manual. Begin by removing all visible packaging, including the film on the exhaust. First, start by placing the body of the vehicle on a flat, level and stable surface. Start by removing the number and mudguard bolts with a 5mm and 4mm hex Allen key. Remove the handlebar stem mounting nuts with a 17mm spanner or socket. Carefully pull the handlebars up towards the front of the vehicle and guide the bolts through the hole on the handlebar mounting plate. Secure the bolts with a 17mm socket. The left hand bolt is more difficult to get to due to the chassis plate being in the way of the bolt. You will need to turn the handlebar slightly and you may need to use a universal socket adapter to give you enough room to secure this nut. When you are happy that all the bolts are secure, apply a small amount of thread lock on the visible threads. Remove the bar pad from the cross support on the handlebars. Undo but do not remove completely the handlebar stem bolts using a 6mm hex Allen key. Adjust the handlebars to desired position for the rider and secure. Place the bar pad back onto the handlebars. Next, we need to ensure the brake levers are in the correct position. Undo the 5mm hex Allen key bolt slightly, but do not remove completely. Once happy with the positioning, tighten a 5mm hex Allen key bolt, but do not over tighten as this can damage the lever. Repeat the process on the other side. Line the front mudguard up with the mountings on the forks. Start by securing the front of the mudguard first, using a 4mm hex Allen key. Using a 5mm hex Allen key, secure the underneath of the mudguard with the 2 bolts that were previously removed. Next, we need to attach a number board. Using a 5mm hex Allen key bolt that was previously removed, secure the number board through the mounting hole. Remove the front axle and bushings from the forks using a 17mm and 14mm socket or spanner. To make it easier to mount the wheel, we need to undo the brake cable. Using a 5mm hex Allen key, undo the bolt to allow the cable to become free. This will allow the caliper to open further to make lining up the disc easier. Line up the holes on the wheel with the forks and push the brake disc into the caliper. Push the front axle through the holes on the fork. Place the biggest bushing on the brake disc side of the wheel and then push the axle through the holes on the front wheel. Once the axle is protruding from the other side, place a smaller bush onto the other side and slide through the remainder of the axle through the forks. Secure the wheel with the nut that was previously removed using a 17mm and 14mm socket or spanner. But be careful not to over tighten this, as this can crush the bearings. Ensure there is enough free movement for the wheel to move forward and backwards with no lateral play. Apply thread lock on all visible threads. Using a pair of pliers, pull the brake cable backwards whilst pushing forward on the brake mechanism. Ensure that the brake isn't restricting the movement of the wheel. Once happy with the brake setup, using a 5mm hex Allen key, secure the brake cable underneath the washer. The next step is easier if the bike can be placed flat on its back. Pull the swing arm up. Remove the nut and bolt on a suspension shock with a 10 and 12mm socket and spanner combination. Once this is removed, pull the suspension shock up towards its mounting bracket on the rear swing arm. Once this is in line, push the bolt through the mounting on the swing arm and the suspension shock. Secure this nut on the other side with a 10mm and 12mm spanner and socket combination. So now that the fundamental parts of the vehicle are assembled, we need to go around every nut and bolt on the vehicle and ensure that they are tight and thread locked appropriately to ensure the safety of the rider. For the purpose of this video, we are not going to show you how to do this, as this is self-explanatory.
And that's it, you have successfully assembled your brand new ONEMOTO vehicle. Before riding your new vehicle, please refer to the manual for recommended safety precautions, inspection and maintenance instructions.
Before riding your new ONEMOTO vehicle, it is crucial that you check the tyres are correctly inflated, the brakes are operating correctly and the fuel is mixed with the correct oil to fuel ratio. We must stress the importance of running in the engine, which may involve a stronger oil ratio, which can be checked in the vehicle's manual. Running in the engine is a process that involves not being aggressive with the throttle until 5 full tanks of stronger mixed fuel has been consumed. Before every ride, we recommend that the brakes, tyres, chain tension and lubrication are carefully inspected before use. For every 10 hours of riding, we recommend checking all nuts and bolts and ensuring that they are tight. We also recommend cleaning the air filter, the carburetor float chamber and checking the brake pads every 10 hours. Following these guidelines will ensure rider safety and a longer life for the vehicle.